Rainy days don't seem so wet. Stormy nights don't stay. From the moment that we met, you were worth the wait. Oh, this could be the best thing that I'll ever know. Best thing that I'll ever know.
Hi, thank you for being here. It is 6:01 p.m. on Wednesday, April 30th. Tomorrow's May 1st. It's May Day. May Day. May Day. I remember when I was a kid, I think I was in first grade at Olympic View in Federal Way, Washington. And we made May baskets for our moms. I remember we took this piece of paper and we rolled it into a cone shape and glued the edge so that it was like a cone. And then we put a handle on it. And then we went out in the field by our school and picked all these little flowers and put in the May basket, like the clover flowers and the little purple flowers that come up out there. And then our teacher instructed us that when we got home, we were supposed to hang it on our doorknob and knock on our door and go hide, so that when our mom opened the door, she'd find the May basket. Well, that would have worked really good, except I got lost going home. It was the first day Mom said I could walk home from school by myself, and we just lived like right up the street, less than a block away from the school, and it was straight from the school, and I forgot how to get home. So I went to the office and I asked the lady in the office, I said, "I'm sorry, I don't remember how to get home. Can you tell me how to get home?" She said, "I don't know where your house is. You live out that way." So I went that way. And I remember I'd walked and walked, and none of the houses looked like mine. But I thought I should be home by now. And so I just sat down on the side of the curb and started crying. And some lady come up from outside her house, and she asked me if I was okay, and I told her I couldn't remember how to get home. And she said, "Well, where do you live?" And I said, "Not very far from the school." She took me right to my house. I don't know who she was, but she took me right to my house, and I ended up giving her the Mayflowers instead of my mama. But my mom was okay with it. But she was just happy to have me home. She said, "You can't walk home from school no more if you can't remember how to get here. We just live straight up the street. How can you not remember how?" Oh my gosh. I was in first grade and it was the first time I was nervous. Excuse me. So, yeah. My watch is sitting here telling me I need to plug it in and let it charge. It says low battery, low battery. Okay. So, I sat down to talk to you, so I got to start yawning. I don't know why. See my face? Starting to. This one is dried up and crusty. It's been dripping all day. I've been having this tissue and I just dab it because the doctor said not to pop the blisters when they come up. So now this is like dry, crusty. This one, the blister hadn't popped yet. I'm not popping it. He told me not to pop it. And on this side, it hasn't popped yet. Because he told me not to pop it, so I'm not going to pop it. Okay, so I did have a background on there. I don't know where it went. Why did it go away? Okay, here we go. All right, so let's present. Here is the fair use disclaimer for the video that I'm going to. I actually prepared the video earlier because there's a lot of reading in it. And the way I yawn in the evening, my face actually looked worse this morning than it does now. I think it's the lighting. So, anyway. So, what we're going to talk about today is the Annabelle doll. Is she paranormal or is she real? What I learned researching this last night and today will haunt you. Let's delve into it. She ain't no creepy doll. There's two kinds of dolls I didn't have when I was growing up. I used to collect dolls. I had 256 of them. Two of them I didn't have. I did not own a Barbie, and I did not own Raggedy Ann. I don't know why. I just didn't. They just weren't my style. I had Cabbage Patch dolls. I had carved dolls from Egypt that my dad brought over when he went back on his 2-week active duty. I had the collector dolls. I had all kinds of dolls. But I did not have a Barbie or Raggedy Ann. All right, now all the sites that I use on this video are mentioned in the description below. Please feel free to hit the thumbs up. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. And let's go. Today, I'm liking, excuse me, they said yesterday that it was blister. And this one's not really blistered. I don't know if I rolled over and slept on it, popped that blister and didn't mean to. But I have a blister here and it keeps trying to drip. And I've got a blister here and it hasn't popped itself. The doctor said not to pop them, so I'm not popping them. But if you see me dab like this, just barely, it's because it's dripping a little bit. And I don't want whatever that is dripping down my face. So, okay, so excuse that, please. Okay, so I'm kind of liking these paranormal subject things. I'm not in a position today, right now, where I can go out and actually search locations, but I can search items and research items and learn about paranormal items. And so yesterday we did the case of the lady in West Virginia where the ghost told her, the Greenbrier ghost. And today we're going to do I Asked Rock. Oh, I'm itching. Sorry. I can't scratch it, so I'm just itching the side of it. I asked Rock to tell me about more paranormal things. And then it brought up the Annabelle doll. And I thought, oh, yeah, let's talk about that one. Because they use that one on shows such as, I can't think of the name, with Zach Bagans. Ghost Adventures, but I forgot the name of it. Anyway, it's one of them paranormal shows with Zach Bagans. And I used to really like that show till I realized it was all fake. And now learning about the Annabelle doll, I realized even some of his props were fake. So I went on Grok and it says researching the Annabelle doll. The request is about the Annabelle doll, probably a famous item in pop culture or history. It's I'm considering it as a haunted doll from the Warrens' Paranormal Collection. Ed and Lorraine Warren were known investigators who claimed it was possessed by a demon. Currently looking for more info, so I'm doing a web search with Annabelle Doll to verify facts. The user wants a general overview, so this should cover it. Searching for Annabelle Doll. 10 results. And the first one is from Wikipedia. Let's look at it. Okay, on Wikipedia, it says the Annabelle doll is supposedly a haunted Raggedy Ann doll, haunted in the now closed Occult Museum of the Paranormal Investigators and Ed and Lorraine Warren. Annabelle was moved there after supposed hauntings in 1970. A supposed character based the doll in one of its antagonists that appeared in the Conjuring universe. Okay, let's look at these blue things. Okay. Raggedy Ann is a character created by American writer John Greeley in 1938 that appeared in a series of books. Okay, we don't need that. Paranormal investigators. A ghost hunting, taking a reading with an EMF detector. I bet that's on Zach Bagans. Okay, let's go back. Ghost hunters, yes. Okay. Here's Ed and Lorraine Warren right here. I can come back to that. And Annabelle was moved there after supposed hauntings in 1970. I don't see anything. Skepticism shown, Maine. Okay. We'll go back. Okay. The background. According to the Warrens, a student nurse was annihilated by the doll. They said that the doll behaved strangely and that a psychic medium told the student that the doll was inhabited by a spirit of a deceased girl named Annabelle. The student and her roommate tried to accept and nurture the spirit-possessed doll, but the doll reportedly exhibited malicious and frightening behavior. It was at this point that the Warrens say they were first contacted, moving the doll to their museum after pronouncing it demonically possessed. Let's look at that one. Okay, it said obsession, spiritism, or mediumship. The altered state of consciousness as associated behavior with a reportedly caused by the control of human body and its functions by spirits and ghosts. Okay. So the doll remained in the glass box at the Warrens Occult Museum in Monroe, Connecticut. Let's see. Ooh, that's pretty. That's a pretty gazebo. Until the museum's closure over a zoning violation. Texas State University assistant professor of religious studies Joseph Laycock says most skeptics have dismissed the Warrens Museum as full of offbeat shelf Halloween junk, dolls and toys and books that could buy at any bookstore. Laycock calls the Annabelle legend an interesting case study in the relationship between pop culture and paranormal folklore, and speculates that the demonic doll trope popularizes. Let's see what that look he says. Sigmund holding the magic sword, nothing in the Arthur Rackham illustration of Richard Wagner's. It doesn't say anything about the Annabelle doll. Okay. Okay, where were we? We were at trope, wherever trope is. Popularized by films such as Child Play, Dolly Dearest, and The Conjuring, likely emerged from early legends surrounding Robert the Doll, as well as from the Twilight Zone episode released 5 years prior to the Warrens' story. Hello to the two persons in my chat. Thank you for being here. Please hit the thumbs up so it can push out my algorithms if you don't mind. And if you'd like, please hit the subscribe button so you'll get notified every time. If you hit the bell button, you'll get notified every time I go live, which is almost every night except not Sunday night. Entitled Living Doll, in which the character of the mother is named Annabelle. Laycock suggests that the idea of demonically possessed doll allows modern demonologists to find supernatural evil in the most banal and demonic of places. Commenting on publicity for the Warrens Occult Museum coinciding, sorry, I had to look at that one, with the, let me turn this around, you don't have to look, okay, maybe over here. Maybe you don't have to look at words, you can't even maybe it's better to look at the words. Okay, so, where was coinciding? Okay, okay. On the Warrens Occult Museum coinciding with the film release The Conjuring, science writer Sharon A. Hill said that many of the myths and legends surrounding the Warrens have seemingly been their own doing, and that many people may have difficulty separating the Warrens from their Hollywood portrayal. Hill criticized sensational press coverage of the Warrens Occult Museum and its Annabelle doll. She said, like real life, Ed Warren, real life Annabelle is actually far less impressive of the supernatural claims made by Annabelle by Ed Warren. Hill said, we have nothing but Ed's word for this, and also for the history and origins of the objects in the museum. The doll was also described in General Britter's 1980 biography of the Warrens, the demonologist. Okay, there's references. Okay. So I'm going to hold that page open and I'm going to come back over here because I need it for my citing when I do mine in a minute. Okay, so oh, how that scrolls down and I'm not even reading. Let's see what is inside. I'm trying to look around the camera at the other screen. Okay, meet the real haunted Annabelle doll behind Annabelle. Okay, it says meet the real haunted Annabelle doll. I don't know if I could click on that or not. No. Okay. So it says the real Annabelle doll reportedly committed a series of attacks in the early 70s before it was confined to the Occult Museum of Ed and Lorraine Warren in Connecticut. She sits in a glass case bearing a hand-carved inscription of the Lord's Prayer, while a pleasant smile rests on her happy face sitting under a mop of red hair. But beneath the case is a sign that reads warning, positively do not open. Now see, yesterday when I was researching this, it was saying that the doll was a Raggedy Ann doll. It was not saying that the doll was this doll that's pictured. To the uninformed visitor of the Warren Occult Museum in Monroe, Connecticut, she looks like any other Raggedy Ann doll produced in the mid-20th century. But the original Annabelle doll is actually anything but ordinary. Since her first supposed haunting in 1970, this allegedly evil doll has been blamed for demonic possession, a slew of violent attacks, and at least 2 near-death experiences in recent years. The true stories of Annabelle have even inspired a series of horror films. But just how much of Annabelle's story is real? Is the real Annabelle doll truly a vessel for demonic spirit in such a human host, or is she simply the child's toy used as a prop for wildly profitable ghost stories? These are the real stories of Annabelle. Okay, hold on. Okay, so this is what I was read yesterday, that this is the real Annabelle doll. It looks like maybe a 21-inch doll, and the sign does say positively do not open. Okay. Though she doesn't share the same porcelain skin and lifelike features as her cinematic counterpart, the Annabelle doll that lives in the Occult Museum of famed paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren. The pair that worked on the case is made all the more creepy by how ordinary she appears. Annabelle's stitched features include her half smile and bright orange triangular nose, evoked memories of childhood toys and simpler times. If you could ask Ed and Lorraine Warren, though Ed died in 2006 and Lorraine died in early 2019, they would tell you that the stark warnings scrawled across the Annabelle glass case are more than necessary. According to the well-known paranormal investigators, the doll is responsible for 2 near-death experiences, 1 fatal accident, and a string of demonic activities that lasted some 30 years. Take that mint out of my mouth. I'm sorry. The first of these infamous hauntings can allegedly be tracked back to 1970 when Annabelle was brand new. The story was told to the Warrens by 2 young women and was retold for years after by the Warrens themselves. As the story goes, the Annabelle doll had been a gift to a young nurse named Donna, or Deidre, depending on the source, from her mother for her 28th birthday. Donna, apparently thrilled with the gift, brought it back to her apartment that she shared with another young nurse named Angie. At first, the doll was an adorable accessory sitting on the sofa in the living room and greeting visitors with her colorful visage. But before long, the 2 women began to notice that Annabelle seemed to move about the room on her own accord. Donna would sit her on the living room sofa before leaving for work, only to come home in the afternoon and find her in the bedroom with the door shut. Annabelle and Angie then started finding notes left throughout their apartment reading, Help me. According to the women, the notes were written on parchment paper, which they didn't even keep in their home. And here's another picture of her. She looks like any ordinary. Sorry, I'm tilted my camera. Sorry. The actual Annabelle Doll's location at the Warrens Occult Museum. Furthermore, Angie's boyfriend, known only as Lou, was in the apartment one afternoon while Donna was uh, out and heard rustling in her room as if someone had broken in. Upon inspection, he found no sign of forced entry, but found the Annabelle doll laying face down on the ground. Other versions of the story say he was attacked upon waking from a nap. Okay. Suddenly, he felt a searing pain on his chest and looked down to find bloody claw marks running across it. 2 days later, they had vanished without a trace. Following Lou's traumatic experience, the women invited a medium over to help solve their seemingly paranormal problem. The medium held a seance and told the women that the doll was inhabited by the spirit of a deceased 7-year-old named Annabelle Higgins, whose body had been found years earlier on the site where their apartment building had been built. The medium claimed that the spirit was benevolent and simply wanted to be loved and cared for. The 2 young nurses reportedly felt bad for the spirit and consented to allow her to take up permanent residence in the doll. Ed and Lorraine Warren enter the Annabelle story. Okay. I'll let you see it. This is Lorraine Warren with the doll. It's a pretty good sized doll. Okay. Eventually, in an attempt to rid their home of the Annabelle doll spirit, Donna and Angie called on an Episcopal priest known as Father Hegan. Hegan contacted his superior, Father Cook, who alerted Ed and Lorraine Warren. As far as Ed and Lorraine Warren were concerned, the 2 young ladies' trouble truly started when they began believing that the doll deserved their sympathy. The Warrens believed that there was actually a demonic force in search of a human host within Annabelle, and not a benevolent soul. The Warrens' occult of the case state. Is this the way that you guys like for excuse me, like for me to do my video, is to pre-record it and then so I can talk to y'all, or would you prefer me reading it to you? This one doesn't actually have any videos that I could pull up and interchange into it that have to do with the doll. Unless I'd have gone and found the one ghost hunter video. But spirits do not possess inanimate objects like houses or toys. They possess people. An inhuman spirit can attach itself to a place or an object, and this is what occurred in the Annabelle case. The spirit manipulated the doll and created the illusion of being alive in order to get recognition. Truly, the spirit was not looking to stay attached to the doll. It was looking to possess a human host. Immediately, the Warrens noted what they believed were signs of demonic possession, including teleportation, the doll moving on its own, materialization, the parchment paper notes, and the mark of the beast, Lou's clawed chest. The Warrens subsequently ordered an exorcism of the apartment to be performed by Father Cook. They took Annabelle out of the apartment and to her final rest. Falcor. In my house? Oh, no. It's a concrete lab puppy. It does kind of look like Falcor, doesn't it? I love Falcor. But yeah, no, it's just a lab puppy. It's a sandy cast yellow lab. And it's going to be for sale on my website. Oh, God. It's heavy, too. It weighs about 2 pounds. Yeah, it did from a distance, laying over there. It did look like Falcor. Place in the occult museum in the hopes that their demonic reign would finally end. Other hauntings attributed to the demonic doll. Now, my question is, why wouldn't they do the exorcism with the doll in the apartment to get the demon out of the doll? Following Annabelle's removal from Donna and Angie's apartment, the Warrens documented several other paranormal experiences involving the doll. The first just minutes after they took possession of her. After the exorcism of the nurse's apartment, the Warrens buckled Annabelle into the back seat of their car and vowed not to take the highway in case she had some kind of accident causing power over them in their vehicle. However, even the safer back roads proved too risky for the couple. On their way home, Lorraine claimed that the brakes either stalled or failed several times, resulting in near disastrous crashes. Lorraine claimed that as soon as Ed pulled holy water from his bag and doused the doll with it, the problem with the brakes disappeared. Upon arriving home, Ed and Lorraine placed the doll in Ed's study. There they reported that the doll levitated and moved about the house, even when placed in the locked office of their outer building. The Warrens claimed that she would turn up later inside the house. Off topic, Manda Panda. Look what I found yesterday. They're called Skittles Popped, and they are actually freeze-dried candy from Skittles. And they're actually cheaper than freeze-dried candy. Yay. Finally, the Warrens decided to lock Annabelle up for good. The Warrens had a specially made glass and wood case constructed upon which they inscribed the Lord's Prayer and St. Michael's Prayer for the rest of his life. Ed would periodically say a binding prayer over the case, ensuring that the sinister spirit and the doll remained good and trapped. Since being locked up, Annabelle the doll hasn't moved again, though it is alleged that her spirit has found ways to reach out to the earthly plane. Once a priest who was visiting the Warrens Museum picked up Annabelle and discounted her demonic abilities. Ed warned the priest about mocking Annabelle's demonic power, but the young priest laughed him off. On his way home, the priest was involved in a near-fatal crash that totaled his new car. He claimed to have seen Annabelle in his rearview mirror just before the accident. Years later, another visitor rapped on the glass of the Annabelle doll's case and laughed at how silly people were to believe in her. On his way home, he reported lost control of his motorcycle and crashed headlong into a tree. He was killed instantly, and his girlfriend just barely survived. She claimed that at the time of the accident, the couple had been laughing about the Annabelle doll. Over the years, the Warrens continued to recount these tales as proof of Annabelle doll's horrific power, though none of these stories could be corroborated. The names of the young priest and the motorcyclist were never divulged. Neither Donna nor Angie nor the two nurses were Annabelle's first victims ever came forward with their story. Neither Father Cook nor Father Hagen appeared to have mentioned their exorcism of her ever again. It would appear that all we have is the Warrens' word that any of this even took place. Now, the Annabelle doll's real-life stories became a movie franchise. Whether or not any of these hauntings took place, the tales left behind were all director-produced James Wan needed to pull together a long-lasting and lucrative horror universe. Beginning in 2014, Wan wrote the story of Annabelle, a seized child-sized haunting porcelain doll with lifelike features and a penchant for violence. Using the real-life Annabelle doll as his inspiration, of course there are several differences between the Warrens' dolls and its cinematic counterpart. The most obvious difference is the doll itself. While the real Annabelle is clearly a child's toy with its exaggerated features and plush body parts, the movie version of Annabelle is inspired by a vintage handmade doll made of porcelain with real braided hair and glistening glass eyes. Along with her physical features, Annabelle's antics were also amped up for shock value in the movie. Rather than terrorizing a pair of roommates and one boyfriend, movie Annabelle moves from home to home, attacking families, possessing members and satanic cults, killing children, posing as a nun, and causing chaos in the Warrens' own home. Despite the fact that the real Annabelle doll has only one alleged rumor of under her belt, Wan has invented enough destruction for 3 successful movies and counting. Inside the museum where the real-life Annabelle lives now. Though Ed and Lorraine Warren have both died, their legacy has been carried on by their daughter Julie and her husband Tony Sepra until his death in 2006. Ed Warren considered Sepra a demonology protege and entrusted him with the continuing his work, which including caring for his occult artifacts. Those artifacts include the Annabelle doll and her protective case, echoing the warnings of his predecessors. Sepra cautioned visitors of the Warrens' Occult Museum about Annabelle's powers. It is dangerous, Sepra said of the doll. Oh, is it dangerous? Sepra said of the doll. Yes, it is the most dangerous object in this museum. Yes. But despite such claims, the Warrens have a complicated relationship with the truth. Though they became practically household names by their involvement in the Amityville horror case and those that inspired The Conjuring, their work has been almost entirely debunked. An investigation by New England Skeptical Society proved that the artifacts in the Warrens Cult Museum were mostly fraudulent, citing doctored photos and exaggerated storytelling. But of those who still doubt the Annabelle doll's power, Sepra likens disturbing her to play Russian roulette. There might be just one bullet in the gun, but would you still pull the trigger, or would you just put the gun down and not take the risk? The real-life fears surrounding the original Annabelle doll only flared up even more in August of 2020 when reports surfaced that she had escaped from the Warrens Occult Museum, which closed down, at least temporarily, due to the zoning issues in 2019. Though the rumors quickly spread on social media, the reports were quickly outed as inaccurate. Sepper himself soon posted a video of himself alongside the real-life Annabelle doll in the museum. Annabelle's alive, Sepper assured everyone. Well, I shouldn't say alive. Annabelle's here in all her infamous glory. She never left the museum. But Sepper was also sure to stroke the fears that have kept the real Annabelle doll terrifying for 50 years, saying, I'd be concerned if Annabelle really did leave because she's nothing to play with. After the look at the true story of the Annabelle doll, read about the true story of the Conjuring. Okay, so I'm going to save that page because I have to use it. Okay, so the next one we're going to real Annabelle doll, open in new link. Pull over here. Oh, my face is starting to itch. I can't scratch that one because it's where they frozen. This one's still a blister and this one's still a blister. Annabelle's Story versus Hollywood. Hello to the second person in the chat. Please hit the thumbs up so it can help push out my algorithms. And if you would so like to, please subscribe and hit the bell notification. It's free and you get notified every time I go live. I thought my screen locked up for a minute. Okay, this one is not, this says it's like Hollywood stuff. It's not real. So, okay, open this one in a new link. I keep looking around my camera. What happened to the real Annabelle doll is less scary than depicted in movies. Walmart. Annabelle doll has served as inspiration for several movies. The real Annabelle doll has a creepy true story behind it, which makes it the perfect horror movie antagonist. In 1970, the doll was given to a Hartford nurse as a gift. However, the nurse and her roommate reportedly saw the doll move. That's the same thing we read before. I went synthesized there for a second. Oh, an email come in over the top of me talking. Unfortunately, the public is not allowed to see the real Annabelle doll in the museum. In 2014, Ed and Lorraine's museum was closed down due to zoning laws that did not permit museums in the residential area via TC Insider. However, it is still possible for people to see the real Annabelle doll, whenever Tanya Sepra, Ed and Lorraine's son-in-law, or Tony Sepra, who currently runs the museum, takes it out. One of the places the public can see the real Annabelle doll is during the Warren Seekers of Supernatural Phantasma.com, whose schedule can be found on this channel. The convention, which was rebranded from the Warren Seekers of Supernatural Paracon, displays all the findings from Ed and Lorraine's paranormal cases. The Warren Seekers of the Supernatural Phantasma Con may be the perfect solution for horror enthusiasts who want to see more of the real Annabelle doll, but it still offers an opportunity for people to have a glimpse of the artifact made famous by The Conjuring. Okay, that's not really anything I didn't read that whole story. And this one's from Entertainment Weekly. Is Annabelle based on a true story all about the real, allegedly haunted doll? The second movie in the Conjuring franchise was inspired by the real Raggedy Ann doll with a disturbing backstory. If you've seen Annabelle, chances are you've spent at least one night terrified of a ruffled, covered, or discarded shirt at the foot of your bed.
I saw Annabelle. It wasn't that scary.
Sees the eponymous evil doll causing havoc for all was hatched from a supporting character in James Wan's The Conjuring. Okay, I can't read this one because I have to sign it. Okay.
Oh, well, we have 5 people in here now.
Is Annabelle based on a true story? With many of the characters and incidents in the Conjuring universe, Annabelle's plot is rooted in an element of basic truth before spinning off into increasingly fantastical realms. Like The Conjuring, Annabelle is based on one of the famous cases taken by paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren. Annabelle Higgins was allegedly a real person, but the young girl died long before she had a chance to join a Satan-worshipping cult. There is indeed a real Annabelle doll, though she's a bit less creepy looking than her cinematic counterpart. So we already read all that. So this one's not. So then it goes on to say, let's come over here and see what else we can see. Browsing results just found that Annabelle doll is Raggedy Ann, supposedly haunted and kept in the Warrens Occult Museum. It was given to a student nurse in the 70s, and they claim that it was possessed by a deceased girl's spirit. That's interesting. The doll's story inspired movies like Annabelle, part of the Conjuring universe. These films are fictional, but based on the realms about the doll. Wikipedia. I'm thinking about how to summarize this for the user, focusing on its origin and cultural impact. There's a lot here, so let's break it down clearly. The doll story involves paranormal claims like moving on its own and leaving notes, which led to the Warrens' involvement. They moved it to their museum after declaring it demonically possessed. All that's interesting. The movie, starting with the Annabelle in 2014 and malevolent influence, though they're fictionalized, Annabelle's creation and Annabelle Comes Home expected on the backstory. Currently, the doll is managed by Tony Separate, the Warren's son-in-law, and can be seen at special events. Browsing in Wikipedia, history has current status of the Annabelle doll. The history shows that the doll was given, okay, we read that. Some sources are skeptical, suggesting the haunting story might be exaggerated or sensationalism. Still, I'll present the commonly accepted narrative and note these views for balance. I'm thinking about checking X for recent discussions on the Annabelle doll. This could give. Looks like I messed up the last function called for X search. It needed a search type perimeter searching on Annabelle.
I was back over on Grok reading, trying to learn.
Laughter. Then I see the skeleton dummy in the background. 55555. I think he wants. Okay. X posts show the Annabelle doll is often seen as creepy, with many referencing its movie appearances. There's also humor like comparing it to other dolls, using it in memes. People discuss its cultural impact like not wanting to own it due to its scary reputation. This aligns with the museum's closure in 2019 as noted in one post. um,
I don't think I found any more.
Cultural impact inspired Conjuring Universe films, including Annabelle, appearance Raggedy Ann doll, button eyes, red hair, less menacing than the movie version. Current status part of the Warren's collection, controversy, skepticism, conclusion. The Annabelle doll is a Raggedy Ann doll with a reputed history of paranormal activity starting in the 1970s and leading to its placement in the Warrens Occult Museum until its closure in 2019. Its story has inspired a successful horror film franchise, but its haunting remains controversial, with skeptics questioning its authenticity. As of April 30th, 2025, which is today, it is part of the Warrens collection managed by Tony Sepra and can be viewed at special events, continuing to captivate audience and blend of paranormal lore as pop culture. And there's a bunch of key citations here. So, what do you think? Do you think the Annabelle doll is real and haunted? Or do you think the Annabelle doll is just folklore? I personally, I would say that it is haunted, but I'm not going to say it's demonically haunted. I'm just saying it's evilly haunted. If it's hurt people and caused people injury, then it would be, I'm not going to say it's demonic because I don't like to say there's demonic things. But, all right, so that's where we sit with the Annabelle doll. There we go. Okay. That's where we sit with the Annabelle doll. Do you have any, do you know of any artifacts or anything that would have paranormal, is the Chucky doll really paranormal? What is the story behind Freddy Krueger? Oh, I hate Batman. Boiler rooms. Boiler rooms. I cannot go in a boiler room, and I do not like going past a closed door because what is in a boiler room and what is behind a closed door scares the pickles out of me. I'm telling you. And when Butch and CJ want to watch Freddy Krueger, I say, yeah, but I'm going somewhere else. I'm not watching it with you. And I won't watch Jurassic Park either. I know that's a stupid science fiction movie, but I don't like Jurassic Park. I guess it gives bad flashback memories. You know, some people don't like to go to certain towns because of bad flashback memories, and I just don't like Jurassic Park for the same reason. So anyway, what do you think about the Annabelle doll? Do you want her? Would you let her live in your home? I know I would.
Yeah, I would definitely own the Annabelle doll. Ed and Lorraine are real. Yeah, they were when they were alive. Yes, they were. I wish I could actually see the real Annabelle. You know, go to one of those places where he takes it out for exhibit. where the son-in-law takes down. And so I could see it. I do love dolls, and I would own it. Yeah, I would own it. I think if I don't think I'd be afraid of it. I don't know. Because when I go to bed, I like to turn my TV on. Well, okay, let me be honest here. I got to tell the truth. I can't lie. I always fall asleep watching uh, a content creator at night. And then I'll wake up and then I'll find something that's paranormal to watch, like the group Paranormal Quest. I got an itch. I'm gonna scratch behind of it. Okay, I like this group called Paranormal Quest. There's some young guys. They're like maybe 30 years old, and they go and they start out leaving cameras alone set up in the house, and then for an hour or 2 hours to see what's going on in a dark house. And they have paranormal equipment like trip wires and EMF detectors and REM pods and things like that. And they have that stuff set up, and then they'll come back, and then they'll go through the house and try to talk to the spirits and get the REM pods and the cat balls and these kind of things to come up. It's just, I just go to sleep listening to that. So and I like the Paranormal Files. They put out a new episode, like a premiere episode every Monday night at 7. And a lot of times they're like a 3-hour show, and I like the longer ones, the really long ones. So that's what I like. I love watching paranormal stuff, and like I showed you my own video of when we went to Ellenwood, Kansas, and stayed the night in that haunted hotel, and I actually caught an apparition on camera. And yeah, that was fun. And then when we were underground in Ellenwood, I believe I saw, I don't know if it was on the video, but we were down in the barbershop, and my son looked up at the camera, up at the mirror, because the mirror was leaning out like this way, like this on the wall. And you could stand over here, and the mirror's leaning like this. And my son was looking up in the mirror, and he didn't have a reflection. And it was like, but that made it fun, you know. And then we went down and had some drinks in the haunted bar that was down underground that night. And CJ tried his first sarsaparilla, non-alcoholic, but he had his first sarsaparilla. I said, "Do you like root beer?" He's like, "Yeah." I said, "That's all sarsaparilla is kind of a licorice root beer." And he really liked it. He kept the bottle. He thought it was something cool. So, and we had a soda and whatever. We caught some orbs outside in the clouds while we were walking over to we were outside vaping and things like that. I think at that time I still smoked when we went, so we went outside so I could smoke what we were doing. So yeah, but anyway, I don't smoke anymore, thank goodness. But okay, so who do you think I should look up next? What do you think? Do you have any ideas? What, something scary that I can look up that might involve true crime? Because seriously, I mean, that's how I got to the Annabelle doll, was because, you know, people that talked to her, like the guy who wrecked his motorcycle, and Ed and Lorraine actually having brake problems until they put holy water on her, and when they were driving and everything like that. So, but I guess holy water only works until it dries. I don't know. But because if they blessed her with holy water, then how can she still be demon possessed? So I don't know. I don't know all the answers to those questions, but makes it fun trying to find out. So anyway, thank you all for being here. I really appreciate it. I couldn't have this channel without you. You make it possible. Do something nice for someone, even if it's just be the reason they smile, and get lockered. I'll see you tomorrow.